Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Mike, let's start with just like physically, how did you feel throughout the season from A to Z? How did it go for you that way?
It was, started a little rocky with a couple things going on, but as the season progressed, I got better and better, and by playoff time, I was, back and feeling good. And I mean, everybody has little things here and there the longer you play, but nothing too pressing. So was excited about getting out the season that way.
You're obviously no longer a 35 or 38 minute guy, but what do you think is like an optimal usage for you now going forward next year?
Yeah, I think we found something really good kind of in the back half of the season where it was 20, it could be 24, 25, whatever. It could be 17. Like it didn't matter. But that range, the body felt real good, recovering and, doing the things I needed to do to get ready for the next night.
Do you see your role changing or evolving in any way going into next year?
Sure. I think my role is one that, I've been willing to do anything, just play any amount of minutes, start, come off the bench, like whatever you want me to do, I'll do, and whatever's best for the team. So I can imagine if it does, it will. If it needs to, it will. I mean, and whatever's best for our team.
Throughout the whole season, a lot of guys were talking about how bad they wanted to do this for you. Just what did this group of guys mean to you this season?
They're special, man. They're young, they're fun, they enjoy the game. They enjoy the journey. They work hard. All the things that you want to go to fight for. So, I think they still don't grasp like the finality of it all. Sometimes, like when stuff happens and the gravity of what just happened, and that's okay. They're young. They'll get to that point, but. They're just a joy to be around, and I'm just happy to have them as my teammates, and hopefully we keep as many of them as we can, and we keep this thing going.
Mike, looking big picture, I think after Game 4 you talked about some of the non-negotiables, and after Game 5 you talked about basketball IQ. Like, what is the next step in this team in like improving its level of detail on a night-to-night basis?
I think it's for individuals, it has to become even more important to them. Maybe that means studying the game more. Maybe it means doing more individual taking coaches on the side and getting some individual stuff there. Or, bringing me aside every now and then, and even more often, and just using the minds around you to help you grasp certain concepts and certain things about the game. Because. It's the game's different than when I came up starting to play, and it maybe even be taught different at a younger age, or however they go through the circuits and through college. So what I know is a lot different than what they know, and you got to try to bring them up to a certain standard or a certain level where the non-negotiables are things you just do by habit and not, something that we have to ask or show on film 1,000 times. So it'll be, on us as a team to try to figure that out.
Mike, obviously Oklahoma City is a really tough team, but what do you feel like didn't translate for you guys with the way you finished the season, the first 2 playoff series? You guys were playing with such momentum. What didn't translate from those into this series?
I think we ran up on a team that, from top to bottom physically, they were, one of the more physical teams we've run up on. Defensively, they were airtight. They did everything, that they needed to do and accomplish in their game plans, and they just did it, everything more consistent, than we were. We had spurts, we had moments, but they seemed to always, never waver, stay at the same level of play, regardless of shots making or not making or whatever the situation was for that particular game. So, they're good, man. They're really good. They're hungry. They're young, and they're moving on.
Mike, what did you see from Dillingham this year, and what kind of strides does he need to make to become a regular rotation guy?
Rob has grown a lot. Obviously he didn't get the opportunities to be on the court to show what exactly he's been able to improve on. But, from my perspective, he's been in the weight room a lot. He's been trying to get his body to a certain level, using this opportunity to get bigger and stronger. And that's we talk about it at length throughout the season, just how much the season will take a toll on your body and how you have to try to keep that in order, and how to help you become a defender, and how to help you to take bumps and move forward with it. And I think he's really taken that to heart. So, he's excited to, get to an off season where he can really, really, lock in and be ready to go to help this team next season.
When you think about what you guys were able to accomplish and maybe the disappointment of this last series, is there an emotion that wins out for you?
It was a tough year. It really was. It was, like I said last night, I think it's our resiliency through a lot of the ups and downs was probably the most, the thing that stuck out the most, because it was not easy. It wasn't easy to start the way we did, to make trades and to do all that stuff, and be looked at like we weren't going to be much anything throughout the season, and to fight through that and kind of stay together and not worry about it, and choose to figure it out and not let it overcome us. And that's what was special about the unit and what's special about being here. So I was just thankful that we found it, at least to a point, to the end of the season.
How much sleep did you get? And are you the first one on deck today because you volunteered or because they knew you would do it?
I didn't sleep much, but no, I volunteered to go first. It's just I knew I wouldn't be asleep. I'd probably be up doing something, and I got to see my kids this morning, so before they got off to school and stuff. So that was my first thing, and then might as well come in and knock it out.
Mike, kind of on that note, like you talked about how some of the young kids don't fully grasp the finality of the season and kind of the future of where things are headed. Like, is that a perspective you'll share, or do they have to kind of learn that on their own as they progress?
I've shared it a lot. I've shared it a lot. But it is something that has to be learned through their, as they get older, as they age, and in this game, however many years they're lucky enough to play. For me, it's been half my life, so it's a long time, and it never gets easier. I was just talking about it walking in here, how yesterday I'm thinking about today, like how I'm gonna get an IV, I'm gonna get ready, get my body ready for game 6, and now it's like what am I gonna do today? I have no idea. So it's just that finality of it is hard, and then you look at the side of teammates and guys who are under contract who are not. This team ain't never be the same complete team that we had yesterday. So that's frustrating because you're losing guys that you went to battle with, and so it's just a lot to wrap your mind around. And I think it just takes time to realize how quick things can change and how you got to kind of seize every opportunity you can get.
Always finding something new, man.
Julius, just if you would give us your big picture thoughts on the season. You went through a lot, ups and downs. How'd you feel about the process of the season and how it finally ended up?
It was great. It was great. Like you said, a lot of ups and downs, but I think we learned a lot about the character of our team. We showed great flashes, and our ability to bounce back from adversity was great. Overall, I think it's a lot to be excited about, because I think we have a lot of room to grow as well. So.
When you're in the middle of a blitz like OKC was exerting on you guys in the first half, what is it like mentally and within the team? How do you try to fight your way through that kind of thing?
I think it's a good learning lesson for us in many different ways. One, how we can keep ourselves out of those positions and avoid, those runs. I think throughout the series there were a lot of bright points as far as how we played throughout stretches. But they're a team that can hurt you. They're not going to beat themselves. So I think we can learn from that. And I think next year we'll be more prepared.
Julius, I know it's kind of fresh and haven't had a lot of time to think of it. What do you think this team needs to kind of get over that next hurdle?
Right now, it's tough to say. I think we gotta like put things in perspective too, and understand this is the first year with a new team. You know, so I think we have to go through these type of experiences together. I don't think it's like some big like, you know, blow up this, that, and the next. I don't know. Those aren't my decisions, but I think for a team that's really a new team in a certain way of, you know, personnel, not only just personnel but play style. We got to go through these experiences together. It's tough to say this fresh off the series, but I think experience will be a big factor heading into next year.
Julius, I know it's still fresh, but obviously it's a big summer for you. You have options coming your way. What will go into your decision-making process when you decide what you believe will be best for your future coming up this offseason?
I haven't even thought about it, to be honest with you. I barely got any sleep. I'm not going to lie to you. So I will say that I love it here. And this is the most meaningful basketball I played in my career. And, you know, from how the organization has made me feel, front office and just my teammates and playing with Ant as our leader, I love it. It's a lot to be excited about. So, I haven't even really thought about it, but I will say, I mean, you know, having the ability to compete for a championship is everything I can ask for at this point in my career. So, we'll see.
Julius, when you say most meaningful, why is it because of the opportunity? Why?
Yeah, the opportunity to win. You know, you get this close and you know you're on a team that has room to grow and we can continue to get better. I mean, it's a lot to be excited for, and usually like around this time, like I'm like, man, I need time off physically, mentally, you know, just to refresh, and obviously I got to give myself that grace, but I'm excited and I'm motivated just to get back to work. So,
Julius, you went through a lot of changes on both sides of the ball this year. Both as this season ended and looking forward to next year, what role on offense and on defense do you think are you most comfortable with and seems to fit best with this roster?
I think it's my versatility and being able to do many different things. I always, when I go into the offseason, I'm like, all right, how can I get better? And I think a big way in thinking, like how I think, is like, how can I play the most efficient basketball? And I think down the stretch for this team, I was playing, you know, pretty efficient basketball and basketball that just helps us win. So, I mean, it's really whatever coach asks and whatever he needs me to do. If you need me to score, if you need me to pass. I think one thing I can do a lot better next year is rebound the basketball. That's been one of the strong suits of my career, and I feel like I didn't rebound well this year at all. And then defensively, just being as engaged as possible. I think when I'm playing with guys like Ant and, you know, Jaden and Rudy and those guys, and how they bring that intensity level on the defensive end, it's inspiring. So I think that's somewhere I feel like I can take a step as well, you know, being engaged full time and being disruptive on that end.
Julius, you've talked about how much you've enjoyed your experience here. Like, being around the league as long as you have, how important is that level of comfort off the floor translating on the court? Extremely.
You know, surprising, I will say. Just, you know, being my 11th year, you come to Minnesota and you're like, all right, usually it's cold as hell. And you don't leave the hotel, so I really never knew much about it. But I was very surprised. And, you know, it's really my speed as far as, you know, I'm a kid from Dallas and used to just, you know, the space and, you know, my family and my kids being able to run around and all that different type of stuff. So, you know, I definitely found a comfort level and got used to the cold and, you know, blizzards in March and all that different type of stuff. But it was cool, man. I enjoyed it. So now, you know, I'll probably spend my summer here.
Piggybacking off of that, Julius, what does the off season look like for you? What do you work on? Like, what is your mindset when you go into the off season?
I think, you know, meeting with coach and seeing what he really needs from me. You know, not just what I feel like I got to get better at, but, you know, seeing what he thinks he needs from me, and, you know, how I can help the team. So always at this point in my career, always going to the off season and say, all right, how can I, you know, best prepare my body for the long haul and, you know, be in the best shape possible. I always start there. I think it's huge this year being able to go into the offseason healthy, which hasn't been the case for me the past few years, so that's great. But, you know, from a basketball perspective, I look at the tape. I'll definitely look at these 5 games and, you know, see how can I be more effective for our team, and I'll probably start there, to be honest.
And what did you learn about Anthony Edwards as a teammate? Obviously, first year with him. What did you learn about him throughout the season?
Man, he's amazing. He's everything you would want in your star player and more. His ability to lead, how special he is, and I've been around great players, you know, specifically Kobe, and the mindsets are similar, you know, as far as how they approach the game, how they approach their craft in general. And he just wants to be the best, and he's the ultimate competitor. So, I mean, he's got a bright future, man.
Hey, Dante. You've been on teams that have gone all the way and those that have gotten close. Looking back, did this team fulfill its potential this year? And if not, what do you think the X factors were that prevented it?
I mean, based on the rest of your question, I think you don't think we fulfilled it either, which I agree. I agree. This team has a lot of potential, and I think the difference between those teams that go all the way, and then earlier just the little things. Superstars are going to be superstars, and then everything else has to be, all the little plays are big plays down the stretch and give you a chance to win. And unfortunately, this series they made a lot of the little plays, and we did not. They beat us to a lot of 50-50 balls, offensive rebounds. They did all the little things that when you look back at it, those are the things that you can control. But it also gives you a perspective that you're not far off. And you're right there, so we just have to be ready to, try to get another bite at the apple.
Dante, you've spoke a lot this year about this team being a really close-knit group. Just how much did these guys mean to you personally?
It's cool. It was a good year, an unexpected year. You go into, the summertime last year, and you're thinking you're in a place, and then the day before season, everything changes, and there's a big adjustment, and, immediately, to have guys that haven't been through that, but try to make you that they understand it and make you feel at home and make you feel good about just going to play basketball, and also just the fans. I think, not to shortchange the guys on the team, but the fans were amazing for me and my family. Made it feel like home right away, and comfortable. So it's it's just the beginning, and I mean, yeah, it was a hell of a year. It was a hell of a year.
Do you think continuity, the fact that team had been together for so long, had been through the wars together, and you guys had still, even though you won the first two playoff series, just hadn't faced that level of difficulty in the postseason? Do you think that was a factor?
I think there was a lot of factors, but if you look at those guys and you have to tip your hat to the joy that they got with having each other succeed, and that comes with that continuity. And I think, this group, we have it. Now there was a few new pieces with me and Julius being added, and guys later on down the line with Rudy and Mike only being here a couple years, but Ant, Jaden, Nas, like those guys have been. That's that core right there, and those are the guys that you can lean on for that continuity. And like I said, we're not far off. We're right there, and everybody has positive feelings. But when you go back and look at it, is those little things. Can we make those consistently throughout the entire season and not try to have a season where we're digging ourselves out of a hole every 5 weeks? And then once you get to the playoffs, that's second nature, and it's already it's a habit at that point.
Dante, Julius was just in here talking about how it kind of caught him by surprise how much he feels like he fit in with Minnesota in this franchise. It was obviously your first year here too. Do you feel like over the last couple of years this perception has changed about this franchise and how good it can be? And from your perspective, your first season in Minnesota and how you felt about it?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, when you put someone like Anthony Edwards in a market, it's attractive. And then, you get a bunch of good guys around him, and you get to experience the amazing people in the community that otherwise, if we didn't play here, you don't understand what it's like. You don't understand what it's like living here and interacting with the fans every single day at restaurants, at coffee shops, and stuff like that. So that's what makes the difference for players. Personally, that's what makes the difference is you can have a bad day at the office, and you go to a coffee shop and there's 10 fans there that just treat you like a normal citizen, but they also hype you up, and that makes it enjoyable to be a part of it. And everybody can feel that. And like I said, when you have a talent like Ant and somebody who the character that he has and what he brings every single day, there's no surprise that we're all loving this place.
Dante, what changed for you the most throughout the season to allow you to settle in?
It's been a season of just adapting. Role last year, role going into the season was one thing, and like I said, right before the season, having to adapt. And then throughout the season, having to adapt to different roles and different, what's asked of you. And that's kind of, things change throughout the whole year. And, I talked to Coach Wright a lot throughout the year of just how to adapt to certain things, how to try to stay out of my own way. And he always reminded me that, you're just a complete basketball player. And whatever's asked of you, just do it, and everything will work out for you in the long run. And that's still my mindset. Whatever's asked of me going forward is, what I'll do, but try to just keep expanding and growing and figuring out what, this team needs around Ant.
Dante, you talked about Ant. What is the biggest thing you learned about him that you didn't know before being his teammate?
He's a great dude. He's a great. How old is he? 23. Dude's 23 years old. He's like, I'm not saying it like I'm 50, but like the dude's a young kid that is just so charismatic and cares about his teammates and just wants to have fun. And when you're around that every day, that energy wears off on everybody. It rubs off on the coaches, the players, the staff. You want to come in and have a good day because he's going to come in with a smile on his face, and that's the fun side of everything. But then also you've learned that dude is an animal, how hard he works. And we were talking throughout the year, and he said, last year I focused going into this season on my 3-ball, and he goes and sets the NBA, leads the NBA in threes. So when he says last night, no one's going to work harder than him, I can bet my money that no one's going to work harder than him. So just being around that every day has been amazing, and look forward to a long time with him.
Dante, a lot of that regular season was about you and Julius kind of adapting, and then the team adapting to you guys. Is there like a new process that starts in the playoffs with that same thing, you think, with the same group, or is it more a continuation of that process?
No, I mean, if you look at it, when we came back from injury, both of us, I think, we're second in offense, I think, and I think we were top 10 in defense, but I don't think we were clicking as well defensively that we would like. I think, overall our expectation is you want to be the best defensive team. But going into the playoffs, you are what you are at that point. There's no reinventing the wheel of trying to figure out how to make guys happy and stuff. Like, no, you are what you are, and you're trying to figure out how to win. And that goes back to the first question I was asked is, your superstars are going to be superstars, and then everybody else, can you do the little things at a high rate to give yourself a chance to win? And we did it for 2 series. I think this series we did it at just not a high enough rate. If you look at the categories, we won a lot of categories, but the categories that we lost were huge categories that they took advantage of.
Hey, Dante, you mentioned how Ant set his mind to improving his 3-point shot. Is there certain areas that you really want to focus on and make a priority as you go into your offseason here?
No, it's just more so just figuring out, where the shots are going to come from. Like I said, this year has been a year of adapting. You look back at last year, I got my shots in very consistent ways. I knew every single day I'm getting them in transition, or I'm getting them in a corner off Jalen's ISOs, or I'm getting them off a DHO with Isaiah. I knew exactly where. So this year, it's just been, it's been fluid, trying to figure out where your shots are going to be, trying to figure out what Ant likes. And if you go back and look at throughout the year, I went back to my comfort zone of sometimes just getting into a DHO with Julius and just playing off of Julius a lot. And that kind of gets me back into a rhythm. So this summer is just, still feeling that out and trying to work with these guys. I know everybody's going to be around each other. Everybody's going to work with each other and try to build that continuity again and more, and just understanding for me just where the shots are going to come from, so then I can work on that throughout the entire summer. Thank you.
In the past, you've talked about battling, not being too hard on yourself. Did you succumb to that at all during these playoffs, or were you able to maintain, do you think?
I think in a healthy way, I was able to figure out ways to get more out of myself in times and respond. You never want to get too high, too low, but with emotions, you're never going to be the same all the time. And I think I was very cognizant of that, and I allowed that to fuel me. I didn't get too low to where I was too hard on myself, doubt myself. But I also was very aware of like where I could be better, and kept the mindfulness to put the right amount of pressure on myself to respond or to get more out of myself.
And in terms of consistency and contribution, was this your best season?
I would say so. I feel like this year is probably my best year in a lot of ways, especially just with the way my career has gone. I would say it's the most I've consistently played. It's the most that I've had a chance, an opportunity consistently to help a team win and to go back to the Western Conference Finals and be a part of that. I would say so.
Nickeil, you've talked a lot this year about kind of being the consistent with your work, consistent with what you do on the floor. That was something Mike kind of brought up, and Dante, about needing more players to be more consistent to make it to that next level. What advice would you give players that are looking to get that consistency?
Consistency breeds consistency. I think the more you're able to show up, good day, bad day, rain, snowstorm, sunshine, whatever is going on, but the more that you're able to show up and get the work done, put the work in, I think that's the only way it can ever come. Each day is going to look different. Each game's going to be different. Sometimes it's going to be trapping Ant. They're not going to trap Ant. Whatever the case may look like, or for any player in a situation, in any role, it's just about showing up each and every day, working to be prepared for any moment at any time.
You've spoken before about how much the trade to Minnesota has meant to you, but how much did this group of guys mean to you this season?
Yeah, it sucks, because when you look around the locker room, you feel like you let everyone down, especially for me. I didn't play my best. I didn't play well at all in the last game, which sucks, especially to go out like that. But guys like Mike Conley, the career he's had and the talks that he's given us every postseason, you can really see him exerting everything he's got into this. Julius, Dante, Nas, JC, and Leonard, guys I've been grown to come close with, the appreciation I have and respect and love I have for Jaden, everyone in the locker room. You grow a connection because you spend so much time with everybody, and you become family in a sense. You become brothers. You talk. You play cards on the plane. Go out to eat all the time. So it's really tough to lose, and then to lose in that fashion, not the best representation of ourselves and how hard we've worked to get to that point.
Nickeil, obviously it's a big summer for you. What are the thoughts when you think about what is ahead for you in free agency and the priorities for yourself when you think about the decision that awaits you? What kind of will lead you to what you think will be best for you?
It's the elephant in the room, so to speak, but I haven't given it thought at all. Still trying to process this year. I get the chance to be a full-time dad now for at least a week before things get crazy and you got to go back into this world. But For me in this moment, the way I see it is kind of be selfish to get to that point. Just to all of the people around me. Now that the season's over, I think taking that time to like give love and to spread it to my circle and just be with them is going to even help me for that decision, because now I can go into it with a clear mind, with some peace of mind, and have a sit down with my agents and really figure out what's best.
You guys have been here twice now as a team. What's different about maybe this time around than opposed to last year, and what do you feel like needs to be the next step in order for this group, and if you decide to come back, to get to the next step next year?
You know, it hurts more losing the same way. You know, you would have much rather, when I say the same way, like in 5 games, the last game was a blowout, and for me, especially the last game of last year and the last game of this year, how I played individually, it's going to leave like this like burning feeling inside of me. And maybe that's something I needed. Maybe it's something to grow from. But just to answer your question, I think the difference was like how much we had to overcome. Last year, we kind of just submerged, and we were all clicking. This year, we had a lot to overcome with the trade that kind of shocked everybody. And the ups and downs, injuries. We didn't really battle much injuries last year. Roles were really changing. You've seen Jaden and Nas really take leadership of the team when Ant and Julius went down, or when Ant had his suspensions, and the roles that they played when Dante went down, when TJ had his weak stretch of playing well. Rob came in and gave us really good minutes off the bench. So I think this year was different because of everything we had to go through. And we were able to take a 49-win team, which is a lot, and turn everything around, because to finish the year, we went 17-4, battling to be in the play-in. Then you work your butt off to get home court advantage in the second round as a 6 seed, which is unheard of. Make it to the conference finals again. Win game 3 in the fashion that you did. Lose game 4 in the fashion that you did. It's just like it was a roller coaster of a season, to say the least, and a lot of learning that came from it.
You talk about that burning feeling after losing big yesterday. Is that something that you and teammates try to use for next year, or is it more something you try to like let go of as the offseason goes through?
Depends on the person. What motivates you, your why, what are you trying to get out of the game? The main thing for me that I really want to take from all of this is, how do I become a winner? Watching back some of these games, the good ones, the bad ones, as painful as it may be, getting close, I think hurts more than never making it at all. Because at least you could have said, well, what if I'd made it? But when you're that close and you know that you're not accomplishing it, but it's right there, for me, it just makes me want to learn how to become a winner, how to grow as a player. Where am I missing that ingredient? Like, what can be applied? And I think for everybody, it's going to hit differently, And he's very charismatic, and he keeps everything fun and light. So for him, maybe this rolls off his shoulders, but it fuels him to work, it can fuel people in different ways. But pertaining to me, it definitely makes me want to learn how to win in this league and dive into all that it takes, and all the knowledge you can gain and the small things and the details and whatnot.
Is there a pathway back to Minnesota for you in the offseason? Do you feel that would be a possibility?
I'll never burn a bridge. And for me to have this opportunity, and I love Minnesota, what the fans have been to me, what the team has been to me. Again, this is the only place I've had a real opportunity to play and be the best version of myself. So I'll definitely say yes. There's no way that I'm going to go into the off season and X out Minnesota. That'd be crazy.
Hey, Jaden. Your roles expanded this year compared to years previous. Now that the season's over, what role do you prefer? Do you prefer the wing stopper role, or do you prefer being more able to be a two-way player and hit the boards more? Which one, if you could choose, would be?
If I could choose, I'll probably say two-way player. I mean, I'm still playing defense, and then just being able to show my offense and go just be aggressive and be able to score.
How tough is it to be a wing stopper and, take on the team's best scorer night after night after night?
I mean, it's hard. You just got to be patient with yourself. Just know that, since you are guarding the best player on every team, that they're going to make tough shots. They're going to get calls, and you just got to be patient. That's something I learned early. Just if you always contest a shot, miss or make, most of them are going to miss, but sometimes they'll make tough ones. So I just kind of learned early that they're good players and they'll make hard shots as well.
Jaden, there's been a lot of guys on this team that have been new that it seems like have meant a lot to you. Just what has this team this season meant to you personally?
It's meant a lot. I would say we started off a little struggle, you could say, but over the months and through the season, we built a lot of trust just with Dante, Ju, and even Joe coming in. So just them being there, just being good teammates for real, and then we all bind together pretty cool. Everyone's chill and on the plane and stuff. So I mean, it was a good year, I think.
Tim has made some dramatic moves the last few years. Do you think this is a team that is facing more change this offseason, or do you think there's a chance for this group staying together?
Who knows? I mean, last year I thought we was going to run it back the same team, and I probably think the same this year, but who knows? The off season be so crazy that anyone could go really.
What's your mindset going into next year, knowing that you guys are coming off back-to-back Western Conference Finals? Just the potential that this team has, the trajectory. What do you see moving forward?
I see a team just thinking finals now. We've made it to the conference finals 2 times, and I want to say that's probably not enough for us. I feel like we're still hungry, losing this early, but just a team coming to win the championship.
Jaden Finch mentioned last night that they have some young guys that are itching to get in the rotation. How close do you think, particularly those 3 top guys, are ready to be contributors next year?
They're ready. I watch them every day. They play Sissel, stay in shape. They're always working on their game. They could play now if they wanted, if Finch let them, but it's just a patient thing. And yeah, I'm excited for them. I don't know who's playing summer league, but I'll probably be there to watch them. But other than that, yeah, I feel like they're ready.
Jaden, you're talking finals maybe as the next step. So what is in your mind the missing ingredient, or if you could put your finger on it, what needs to happen in order to get to that next step?
I don't know. We just got to win. I don't know. We win 2 times in a row. The same outcome, the same 4-1. We just gotta. I don't know. We just got to find a way to win.
Specifically against the Thunder, if and when you get them in a playoff series again, what do you think is the key to changing that outcome?
I'll probably say my perspective. I think we worried about the Shea foul calls too much. I'll say probably the first 2 games we was worrying about that way too much, and instead of just playing, because I'll say the Lakers series, Luka kind of does the same little tricky stuff. So and we didn't really worry about it that much. So I'll probably just say don't worry about the stuff we can't control.
Jaden, is there another level this team can get to defensively? And if so, how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, we could be number 1 top team in defense in the NBA. It's just we all just got to be communicating together and just wanting to put the work in. And at times you see it all of us could guard 1 through 5 really, and just when we see mismatches, helping our teammates out.
When you talk about trying not to foul Shea, was that more about worrying about the officials of it all, or is it more you have to make sure not to foul him yourself when he's legitimately drawing contact?
I'll probably say just worrying about the officials, going into the game thinking he's going to get calls or they're going to call stuff for him. So just next time when we know, just not to even worry about the refs at all.
Jaden, just going back to the defense real quick, I think Ant described it last night as OKC looked like 15 puppets on 1 string. How do you guys go about looking like that, or is that a possibility for
you
y'all?
just got to be on the same page, and they're I'll say they're relentless. They make sure they contest every shot, no one gets an open shot, no matter how good or bad you shoot. And they're just always hustling. I feel like we can get to that for sure. There's times where you see us teams can't get past half court on us, so it's just a thing we got to get better at and continue to do.
Each summer you've pretty much stayed around and worked hard right here in the building. Will you continue that tradition, and how helpful has it been?
I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'll probably be back for sure. I'm always here when they start having runs and stuff with the young guys and just everyone kind of slowly coming back, but I'll be in and out for sure.
Nas, your running buddy, has got a player option this year. Have you talked to him at all or worry at all about his near future?
Yeah, hopefully he stays here, but I don't even get into all that stuff with him. I just focus on basketball and just being a friend for real.
I know earlier on in the season you talked about mentoring Rob defensively and kind of taking on that role. How's Rob specifically kind of improved throughout the season?
He's came a long way. I'll say Rob, he wants to play bad, and he knows how good he can be. So for him it's kind of frustrating, but we always tell him for me and Ant, for example, when Ant first got in the NBA, he didn't start or I barely played. So it's just a timing thing, and I'll say he's done really well of just learning just to keep working out no matter if you're playing or not. And I think he's gonna be ready next year though for sure.
Jaden, you worked on the mid game in the offseason last year. What are you going to work on this offseason coming into this year?
I'll probably say, for real, everything offensively, like shooting threes, mid-range, my ball handling especially, just being able to create off the dribble and just make sure everything's pretty tight. But defense always, but yeah, just all three levels of scoring. Thank you. Yep.
Hey, TJ. OKC is one of the more physical opponents you face, especially on defense. Do you think that your game thrives more in a physical environment where both teams are really being physical, or do you think it's just more a matter of you can take advantage of teams that aren't physical?
I feel like with my game, I could take advantage of both ways. I'm not really worried about if they're physical or not because I'm physical as well. So it's either or.
Was this playoff experience something that you felt like you were thriving as you were going throughout the time you were there? What lessons did you learn about what happened in your stint there?
I'm still sinking everything in, but I look at this whole year as a learning experience for me as a rookie. Just learning from the other guys, not playing as much, so just watching everything the vets do, how to handle my body, how to take certain things as the season's going along. So just reflecting on that and everything that I learned this year, just take it all in and work on what I need to and bring it back for next year.
Looking back on this season, what was maybe one or two of the biggest things you've learned about the NBA?
There's a long season. It's gonna be ups and downs, but you just gotta stay with it. You gotta stay confident, stay together as a team, and as long as you do that, you can go far. And that's what we did this year.
And obviously, you know, you're not a young rookie. You've had experiences in colleges. What has this team meant to you, though, just on a personal level?
I mean, these are guys that I came in with, so I feel like we built a bond together to where, like, I can ask any of these guys for something if I needed help with something. So, I mean, I care about every guy that's on this team, and yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that.
How would you describe your relationship with Ant, and how would you kind of encapsulate how he leads from his position?
Oh, yeah. Ant's a really good leader. He holds himself accountable, and he holds everybody else accountable as well. He's a really hard worker, and yeah, and he's willing to be coached. If you're willing to be coached the hardest, and your teammates see that, then they'll just push them to be the same way. My relationship with Ant, we grew close over this past year, having a lot of conversations, giving each other suggestions or whatnot. But yeah, we're gonna work hard together this summer and be back next year.
TJ, what did the coaching staff say to you in terms of going into the offseason, what they would like to see you work on? What's kind of the pathway to see a more consistent role for you on the court next season?
Just big summer. That's what I got. Big summer. That's all I got.
Was there any kind of top takeaway for you from your rookie season in this league, like that maybe you didn't expect, or that kind of makes clear to you, like, you know, what your next step needs to be?
I honestly didn't have any expectations coming into my rookie year. I came in open arms and willing to learn. And everything that I've seen this year, I'm just going to take it and keep it with me. And I'm going to learn stuff next year as well. So I'm always keep learning. But I feel like next year it's going to be less of a learning experience for me, and I'll be playing more.
When you say big summer, are you talking about the work you're going to put in, or what do you mean?
100%.
I mean, is it having the taste of this and kind of seeing what it takes, does that give you extra motivation going into the offseason, knowing what you have to work on to be in this rotation regularly?
For sure. I actually watched them reach the Western Conference Finals the year before, and reaching again this year, and actually experiencing it. It just makes you want it even more. So, yeah, it's a big summer.
Is summer league an option for you?
For sure.